How's it going, YouTube, and welcome back to Grid, and I'm your host, Cardfight Grid, and today we have an exciting match for you. We have Ancient Dragons versus Nightmist V Premium. So these are both very budget decks, and then on top of that, they're very fun and capable of beating certain meta decks. So if you guys do enjoy these decks, if you want a deck profile, please let me know. But with all that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Ancient Dragon's going first, rides the grade 1, passes turn over, and it looks like the Grandblue player is just gonna go ahead and put the swings, gets the hit. It was a 1 to pass, and then Ancient Dragon rides the grade 2 to counterblast 1, check the top 3, call unit out, calls out the Spinal Driver to rear guard, gets the grade 1 in the back that has the on hit, check the top 3, grab an Ancient Dragon, put it onto the field rested, and it looks like that's what he's about to do. It's a Vanguard, and it looks like Grandblue just got a defensive draw, so it looks like Spine Driver's not gonna hit. Oh, it looks like the top 7, not top 3. Alright. It gets a grade 1 Ancient Dragon, the one I believe that I can Soul Blast one when it gets retired. If it has a equip gauge, you can call out a grade 3 from your deck. And then looks like Grandblue is gonna go into their grade 2 counterblast 1 to get that Ghost Dragon to end. And that grade 1 effect is to Soul Blast and to retire one of their rear guards and call it out from drop. And it looks like he's gonna do the same thing again, but with the draw trigger. Yeah, so if you guys don't know the stitch of Nightmist, it's literally just spamming the board and getting as many on swing, like on hits as you can, because they get treasure markers. And the more they get, the better the deck becomes. Swings, he hits, and he no defensive trigger and gets another treasure. And it looks like Ancient Dragons just defends with a front. Ooh, goes into the Rex as the first grade 3. You really don't want that for Ancient Dragons, because you want to go into the Spinal Driver and then to the reverse. But this is not looking too good. So, but he is going to activate the effect to get plus 10k and then to top deck a front, which is nice. And on top of that, he's yeah, every every increment of 5k is 1 represent on the dice. So the Vanguard has plus 10k. Swings with the rear, gets blocked by a draw trigger, swings with Vanguard now, and I believe it gets plus 10k and maybe triple drive, but I don't think so. I think it's just 10k and you get to top deck a front. Gets the front off, and everything gets like an equip gauge, and except for the old Ancient Dragons, yeah, it gets an additional drive. And the old Ancient Dragons actually get additional crit when you check a front, which is nice. And I believe he's going to use that after battle skill to counterblast 1, draw a card, and to retire rear guard. And that grade 1, when it gets retired, like I said, you can go ahead and Soul Blast 1, and I believe you have to bind it. And you can call a, yeah, there you go. And then you can call a grade 3 from deck. And that Rex's effect, he can actually top deck another front trigger if he wanted to, I believe, by discarding a card. And swings with the rear guard, but I believe, oh yeah, okay. Since the rear guard gets guarded with the heal, then swings with another, takes the 2 damage, and yeah, nice, set to 3. I believe he didn't know that rear guard had 2 crit, so that's why the Ancient Dragon player gave him another chance to regard that. And it looks like they get into Nightmist, which is the main grade that you want to ride. If you get into any other grade 3 in Nightmist, you might want to scoop depending on your matchup, because it's pretty bad. Nightmist is the go-to. Nightmist is the whole reason why the deck works, so you need Nightmist. Right now, I think he just searched the top 5 to grab a card and into mill, and then the grade 0 was to bind itself, mill 2 to grab a rear guard from drop, I believe. That is one of the 7 Cs. Goes in and grabs a rear guard that gets plus 15k if it's on a treasure marker. And I believe Nightmist is right now giving everybody the ability to attack from back row. since he has 1 treasure. And then if he has 3 treasures, they all get plus 5k. And then 6 treasures at the end of the battle, he can withstand all his rear guards. So yeah, it can get pretty nasty. So right now they can attack from the back row, so that's why those grade 3 ghost dragons are in the back. I believe they get plus like 3k for every 7Cs unit in your drop, so they can get pretty fat actually. They're all getting plus 21k right now on their first grade 3 turn, so that's pretty good actually. And every single one of these units has the on hit skill, get a treasure marker. It doesn't even matter if it's a rear guard, exactly what he just did right now. Swung at rear and got another treasure marker. And yep, the whole board gets plus 5k. Swings again, he gets hit, gets a front trigger luckily. So even though he's gonna be getting swung on like 6 times this turn, oh, gets another defensive trigger, gets a draw trigger. Alright, so it looks like his rear guards are gonna die this turn. And I think that's what the Nightmist player is doing, but he's still going for Vanguard. And Ancient Dragon is just guarding everything he can. I believe it says no guard, gets the heal but does not heal, but can give the power to another unit, to the booster. And yep, takes the damage, gets another treasure, restands the whole board. And yeah, this is not looking good for the Ancient Dragon player because everything is still hitting. Not everything, but almost everything. Yep, and that is game. Looks like we're gonna go to game 2, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like Ancient Dragon's gonna go first. Writes the grade 1, draws, passes, and wow, okay. Grandblue doesn't get a Nightmist, so you take those hits if it's not a Nightmist, but it takes the hits if it's not a 7Cs unit because they don't get a treasure marker. Go ahead and writes the grade 2, looks at top 3, go ahead and gets the Rex, and then he can go ahead and top deck a front. So now if the opponent says 1 to pass, it's going to pass because it's up front and we all know it. On top of that, the Vanguard's going to go ahead and get crit. Oh, I believe he did -2 crit on the Vanguard, so it doesn't hit. But swings with the Rex, and that definitely hits. So yeah, there is some a little bit of Tachis always have some sort of way to get some early game rush going on, but I guess Ancient Dragons doesn't have the most that Tachis can do, but at least has some. And looks like the Grandblue player is gonna just call out a column, swings, and Tachi says no pass, and looks like Tachis is about to guard again. Nope, they take the damage. Okay, but it's not looking too bad right now, just because the Grandblue player milled out 2 Nightmist, which is good, and Tachi's getting his Spinal Driver. This is what you want. Goes ahead and goes into Excel 2, calls out the grade 2, swings at rear, then swings at Vanguard. Now swinging at Vanguard again, eating 2 rear guards to draw, get another Excel circle, call out a unit, and then 2 units get plus 5k. So much value for just what card, and it's only, I believe it's on attack skill and when a road upon skill, so it's very nice. And then yep, gets up front and calls out the Iguana Gorg, so, and then swings at Vanguard for like plus like 20k, so it's like 28. And yep, oh, Grandblue still gets into Nightmist, so, and they have 1 marker. So right now he uses skill the grade 2 to Cannon Blast. I believe it's to basically add a Nightmist by 10, uses a grade 0 to bind itself to mill 2, and then adds the, I believe he added the Ghost Dragon back to hand. Calling out the Ghost Dragons in the back, gets 2 of them, that is pretty nice. And he gets the grade 2 that can, that gets plus 15k power if it's on a treasure marker. Uses Necrobone skill to go ahead and bomb deck it to call out that grade 2 that gets plus power. I believe he counted how many 7Cs units he has, and I believe everybody all those dragons get plus 9k. Yeah, on the dragons, the power increments I believe are 1k each. Like all the other units are 5ks. Each one is represented with 5k. Swing is not hitting, and this ancient dragon player just has too much to guard with, but actually takes the Vanguard attack, and the Vanguard gets a crit. Takes 2 damage, no defensives. Alright, but it's not looking too bad for 2 ancient dragons right now. He ends up riding the Spinal Reverse. Does not get the on ride skill, which is fine. But he does go to Excel 2, gets the draw. Does not have too much of a hand, but it looks like he can go ahead and calls out the bird because he has a on play skill, draw a card, call a card out, put an equip gauge on it. And if you rode onto Spinal Driver, you can do it 3 times, which is really nice. So he calls out the Iguanagorg and the other grade 1 ancient dragon in the back. And yep, he calls out the grade 3. I believe he activated the skill to top deck up front. And then he's going to use the Vanguard skill to lock 2 units in the back. Now whenever he checks up front, the whole front row, no matter what, was going to get additional crit. So I believe the grade 2s in the front Excel circles are going to get additional crit anyway, so they're going to be 3 crit. No, I believe, yeah, the grade 2 and the grade 3 both get equip gauges. So yeah, he just drove check a front trigger and a grade 2. Now the whole front row has plus 10k and plus crit. So this is literally no hit can go through because he's going to be taking 2 crit. Except for those 2, it's 3 crit, but he guards it. Swings with the Rex, ends up protect marking it. And then swings with the grade 2. I believe he's going to take it, and that is game. Alright, and it looks like Ancient Dragons gets game 2. And that's how you want to play Ancient Dragons, just to make sure you get to that Spinal Driver first. It's very important, ladies and gentlemen. It's so much value too. And then later on you can just go into the reverse and then just go ahead and push for game with his skill. And it's really nice since you have the Rex that can top deck a front. True Ancient Dragon looks like Grandblue decided to go first, or decided to go second. Ancient Dragon rides the Iguanagorg, and then Grandblue gets a on hit, and then gets a charger marker. Ancient Dragon riding the grade 2, swings with the grade 1 first. Alright, gets guarded with the quick shield, and then swings with the Vanguard that has an on hit. And yep, on hit, check the top 7, call out a unit in the back row rested. I believe he's going to call out that grade 2, yep. Yeah, that grade 1's so much value. And I can understand why Grandblue wanted to go first, wanted to go second, just so they can get the first swing, because as soon as you can start swinging at your opponent's Vanguard, you can start getting those treasure markers, and your whole deck is about those treasure markers. Activates the grade 2. Go ahead and mills, and then grabs the grade 2 unit, gets plus 15k. Grade 0 is going to mill 2. Grabs the same unit, and I believe he has a grade 1 and drop. Or no, he's not. He's actually just calling out that front trigger or the draw trigger just to get a boost. So it looks like Ancient Dragon guards the first attack, but takes the second because he's not going to guard the rear guard. And then now his other rear guard's going to swing with plus 15k, and then he got 3 treasure markers now. It's not looking too good, but at least True Ancient Dragons is running. It just rode into Spinal Driver. And right now, I believe he's contemplating on calling out the grade 1. And he did, and then calling out another grade 1. Looks like he's going to call out a full board. Calls out the grade 2 that gets plus 5k as long as he's on cell circle, and I believe cannot be affected by your opponent's card effects. So he's swinging for 19 right now. Alright, and then he swings with Spinal Driver with On attack, go ahead and retire 2 rear guards, call out a unit, and give 2 other rear guards plus 5k, and gets a cell circle and draws. Like I said, Spinal Driver is so good, and I believe he's still very cheap too. So this deck is just, it's so much fun. You get so much value for such a low prices on your cards. So it's definitely one that you guys want to look into. And I believe he's gonna call out the grade 3 and the grade 1. And then give them both plus 5k. Okay. And looks like he's just gonna 15k shield that attack, so it doesn't get through, but does get a front. Front's gonna give a clip gauge to everybody, except for the grade 1 on the front. He's going to just get additional crit. So I believe he's going to swing with the grade 1 on the front first. So it's swinging for 13, 18 with additional crit. Oh no, not 18. It's going to swing for 28 with additional crit. So it's just a 20k card, which is not too bad. And the Nightmist deck, you do have a lot of hand, which is nice because you call majority of your units from drop. And now he's swinging a Spinal Driver for, I believe, 32. Swinging with the grade 2 to Soul Blast and retire a unit with a equip gauge, and then he's going to get plus 10k power. And then additional 5k. And then he's going to retire that grade 1. The grade 1's going to Soul Blast and bind itself to call out a Rex to go ahead and get plus 10k and top deck a front. So yeah, takes the damage, no defensive trigger, and then swings with the Rex and goes to 4. So this is pretty nice because now the Tachi player has a defensive front. And then Grandblue goes into Nightmist. Doesn't look like he has too many cards in hand, but that is a-okay. Because all he needs to do, he only has 5 cards in hand, and one of them's a protect marker. Okay. And he goes ahead and uses Necrobone skill to discard the grade 1 to call out a grade, probably the grade 2 or probably the dragon from drop. I think right now he's contemplating, maybe he's gonna call out something else to get him more value on the board. Yeah, he is. He's gonna go ahead and call out the, yeah, he ends up going with the power. So he ends up calling out the unit that gets plus 15k, and then he's gonna Soul Blast and call out the grade 1 that you retire rear guard and gets called, and calls out 2 ghost dragons. Okay, those ghost dragons are getting plus 12k, I believe, or 18k. Oh my gosh. Okay. 18k. Yeah, those ghost dragons are just so good, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, they're too much value. And on top of that, if you get too many treasure markers, or if you feel like it's not hard for you to get any in your matchup, you can just remove remove one of them just to call out 2 units from drop, so you don't still have to commit too much from hand. Swings at rear, gets the on hit. Now he just needs to hit 2 more times, and then he can just fill up the board. Tachikaze gets the defensive front as expected. Swings again, no trigger, and he gets the hit. So now he has 6 treasure markers, and looks like Tachikaze gets another front, but it's not looking too good just because those rear guards are going to restand, and that is game, ladies and gentlemen. Tachikaze did not have too much of a good guarding hand, but that is it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and then until I see you next time.